Once the snail frame is ready, we need to cover it with a layer of craft tape or masking tape. Craft tape is stickier and stronger, so I recommend using it. Tear off a small piece of tape and stick it to the underside of the snail's body. Place the next piece of tape so that it overlaps the first one. There should be no gaps between the pieces of tape. They should create a continuous covering over the frame, like a skin. The smaller the pieces of craft tape, the more smoothly they will lie on the surface without wrinkles. Cover the entire snail's body with tape, from the back all the way to the head and tentacles. The entire snail should be completely covered with tape, with no gaps. If you manage to cover the snail's body, the shell will be even easier because its shape is much simpler. Just cover the entire shell with small pieces of craft tape, overlapping each piece slightly. The shell covered with tape should look like this. You can place it against the snail's body to check how it fits. If you want to make the spiral on the shell more pronounced, you can build it up using aluminum foil. Tear off a piece of foil long enough for the spiral and gently crumple it into a thick, raised strip. Don't compress it too tightly. Place the foil strip on the shell to check the shape. It should curve around the shell in a spiral. Decide where you want the spiral to begin, approximately in the center of the shell, and secure the foil there with hot glue. Start wrapping the foil strip around the shell in a spiral, working toward the outer edge of the shell. As you go, secure the foil strip to the surface of the shell with hot glue. If the strip of foil isn't long enough, attach an additional piece of foil to the end. At the top of the shell, curl the end of the foil inward to finish the spiral and secure it with hot glue. Now we need to cover the foil spiral with craft tape again. This will smooth out the surface and make the foil spiral blend seamlessly into the shell. The shell is ready. Place the shell on the snail's body and decide on its final position before gluing it in place. Apply a generous amount of hot glue to the bottom of the shell and press it firmly onto the snail's back until it is securely attached. Now fill the seam between the shell and the body with hot glue. Before covering the snail with Papier Mache mass, I recommend adding a layer of paper. This will make the entire structure stronger. Tear the paper into small pieces. I used craft wrapping paper, but you can also use newspaper or regular office paper. Coat each piece of paper with glue. The paper should be thoroughly saturated with glue, but not swimming in it. I used PVA glue. In the US, Elmer's Glue All is a good alternative. Start covering the shell from the top. Overlap the pieces of paper as you go. Try to avoid excess glue, air bubbles, and wrinkles. smooth the surface with your fingers as you work. This will create an even, strong layer of paper. It is very important to cover the seam between the shell and the snail's body with a layer of paper. This will reinforce the connection and make the entire figure one solid piece. Cover the entire snail's body with paper as well, including the underside and the tentacles. Leave the snail to dry completely. Once the snail is dry, you need to decide how you are going to use it. If you plan to hang it on a wall, you will need a hanger, and it is best to install it at this stage. If you want to use the snail as garden decor, you do not need to add any hanging hardware. The finished piece must be completely sealed to prevent any water from getting inside. For the wall hanging version, cut an opening for the hanger in the underside of the snail. The ribs of the frame may prevent the wall hanger from sitting flush with the surface. Make a couple of small cuts in the ribs with a utility knife and press them down with your finger. Apply hot glue inside the opening and insert the wall hanger. I installed 2 hangers, but 1 is more than enough. Cover the hanger with layers of paper to secure it in place. I used a different color of paper only so you can see it more clearly during the process. Of course, make sure you don't cover the opening in the hanger. 2 layers of paper are enough to securely fix the hanger in place. Leave the snail upside down until it is completely dry.